What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Vince McMahon demoted and loses complete control. Is Endeavor trying to get rid of him? Was Mickie James slated for a role as co-general manager? Booker T talks Tony Khan's fixation on WWE. Carlito wasn't happy with this one thing. Jerry Lawler sporting a new look, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website, WrestleMania.com. Over there you'll find all the latest breaking news stories. Now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at Vince McMahon demoted, loses complete control. The top of today's news are two reports suggesting Vince McMahon has been quietly demoted in the WWE thanks to some recent moves by TKO Holdings CEO Ari Emanuel. First, let's look at Triple H's apparent elevation to having complete control of creative and how this, along with other news, suggests Vince McMahon may be a figurehead, albeit a wealthy one. First, let's look at Triple H running the show. Now, it's all about the game, at least when it comes to the WWE's creative department. If you've been keeping up with our daily news, you've heard reports that Triple H has been given the keys to the kingdom when it comes to the WWE's creative department. Although it's a role that Trips enjoyed since Vince McMahon's 2022 exit, McMahon's return led to doubt about how much control Helmsley wielded. A recent Sports Illustrated report explained why Ari Emanuel has Triple H running creative without McMahon lurking about. Multiple contacts within the WWE and UFC have confirmed that Ari Emanuel, who wields power as the Endeavor CEO, is behind the change. Emanuel has long been a firm believer that in order for an organization to be as effective as possible, people need to do the job they are assigned. In this case, that approach has empowered Levesque to assert his full influence in the company's creative sphere. Triple H's work in creative has been praised by fans and wrestlers alike, unlike McMahon's run before he left the WWE briefly in 2022. However, there's much more to the shift in power, as we'll see in our next story. Is McMahon just another employee? Or one of the biggest questions now is just how much power Vinnie Mac has lost and what his role is in TKO Holdings. Meltzer commented on the Wrestling Observer Radio, "Well, he's out of creative. It's a big story because Ari Emanuel, when they were on the verge of closing the deal and actually closed the deal in April, did media rounds and said Vince will be in charge of the company in WWE, and if me and Vince have a disagreement, it goes the way Vince wants because Vince is the guy." So then the deal went through. It only went through about a month ago, and already Vince is out of creative because of Ari Emanuel. Anyone familiar with business shouldn't be too surprised at these types of situations, as they happen all the time during a merger or other restructuring of power. A prime example in wrestling is when Ted Turner's Time Warner merged with America Online. A 2003 Wall Street Journal article described what happened, and it could be a horrifying harbinger for Vince McMahon. After Time Warner merged with America Online, Mr. Turner was stripped of his operating power and his clout inside the company waned. That's not the only similarity, as AOL stock took a hit, reportedly leading to Turner losing billions of dollars. TKO Holdings stock is currently just below $79, quite the drop from the $100 valuation it held just a few weeks ago. If the stock price continues to drop, Vince McMahon could lose more than power, he could lose a considerable amount of cash. Meltzer compared Vince's position of that of his father Vince Sr. when Vince Jr. took control of WWF. So this is a real interesting thing because it is the first time Vince is now in the position that his father was in '84, when his father had run the company for years and years and years, and then he was just an employee of Vince Jr. Not only that, but Vince's options for asserting himself are limited due to him no longer having a majority voting interest in the company. Compare how McMahon returned from what many saw as a permanent retirement in 2022, only to regain control of his company and realign the board of directors to individuals who are favorable to him. Well, that's not going to happen now, as McMahon doesn't have the voting power to do so. Meltzer added, "So it is very interesting, I think, what is going to happen, but Vince's power is clearly marginalized, there's no way around that. This apparent loss of power could lead to something even more drastic, Vince being ousted from the company." Another possibility to consider is that Vince could be ousted from the company at some point. TKO Holdings' Ari Emanuel gave 3 reasons for the stock price dropping, with the last being McMahon's option to sell his stock at any time. Some observers feel that Emanuel is putting some of the blame on the stock's drop to McMahon, while others feel he threw it out as a factor in how the market sees things, not necessarily how Emanuel sees things. One thing is clear, McMahon has a target on him thanks to the federal government's investigation into activities surrounding his 2022 hush money scandal. TKO would likely move fast to oust McMahon from any role in the company pending any potential prosecution, and it may not bring him back regardless of the outcome. There are too many factors at play to consider this anything more than informed speculation, but it'd be ironic if McMahon found himself ousted after decades building up the company. He certainly wouldn't be the first business person to experience this, but it would likely be a rude awakening for a person used to getting things his way for so long. Next up, Mickie James slated for a role as co-general manager. And Nick Aldis is now SmackDown general manager, but according to WrestleVotes, Aldis could have shared power with someone near and dear to him, his wife Mickie James. Rumors of Nick Aldis debuting tonight on SmackDown as a new GM. Sources state that within the last month there were discussions and ideas thrown around to see if Aldis' wife Mickie James would be interested in such a role as co-GMs. This doesn't look to be happening though. Would this have been a good idea? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, more talk of Raw moving from Mondays. Is Raw leaving its longtime home on Mondays? Well, officials from TKO Holdings have stated they're willing to air the red brand on another night, depending on who acquires the broadcast rights. Nonetheless, WrestleVotes added there are reservations by some about the show moving. Regarding the rumors of Raw moving nights, Endeavor is definitely open to it, which they have stated. I can say from a backstage off-camera standpoint, there are a ton of people who want Raw to continue on Monday as is. A Raw is always aired on Mondays, and moving it would be akin to Monday Night Football moving to another night after decades on the same day. Next up, Jade Cargill making good impression backstage. WWE newcomer Jade Cargill is getting quite the push from the company right now, but it doesn't appear that she's taking anything for granted. According to Fightful Select, Cargill appeared early on the 13th October SmackDown and made it a point to introduce herself and engage with wrestlers backstage, efforts which were reportedly well received. Locker room etiquette is essential when a wrestler comes to a new promotion. The case can be made it's even more important as Cargill is still learning the ropes here and appears to be set for a major push. Thus, showing her fellow wrestlers she doesn't feel entitled is one way to diffuse potential problems. According to Wrestling News, Cargill recently applied for the trademark protection on Jade Cargill for the following. Next up, Booker T talks Tony Khan's fixation on WWE. Is Tony Khan fixated on the WWE? Well, that's the situation Booker T is trying to figure out following Tony's social media meltdown following NXT trouncing Dynamite in the 10th October ratings battle. The former world champion discussed this on his Hall of Fame podcast, pointing out that NXT decisively defeated Dynamite in the ratings, yet Khan felt they needed to make an outrageous tweet. I'm going to take a dig at this last comment that he made about the NXT rating. He said that it was the first time that John Cena and The Undertaker appeared in front of less than 1 million people for WWE, and the thing is, he's got Edge. He's got Christian over there. He's got all those guys and they never performed in front of 600,000. So it's like, when you say stuff like that, you might want to think about it before you say stuff like that, because Edge was in the main event. Edge was in the main event of that show, and they drew 609k. While the WWE loaded up NXT, the fact remains the black and gold brand won the night. Booker T said he normally avoids criticizing AEW's president, but Khan's tweet has him wondering what's going on with him. I don't know what Tony Khan's modus operandi is. I don't know what his fixation is on WWE. Next up, Carlito wasn't happy about this. Carlito is back in WWE, but the WWE didn't bring his previous entrance theme back, instead presenting a new theme and one that he wasn't thrilled with. During an appearance on the Ring of Wrestling show, Carlito revealed, "I wasn't crazy about it, but I found out like one of those earworms where I'd be humming it to myself during the day." He added that WWE worked with him on the new song. "They asked for my input here and there. I said we could use a little more bass, more drums, little things like that. Then the lines I wanted to change. I didn't want the old lines from before." The second-gen wrestler admitted, "It grew on me a little bit. People don't like change. I'm not crazy about change, but it's something that needs to be done and, just do something to put a fresh coat of paint on everything." Wrestlers' theme songs are integral to their characters, so it's no surprise that Carlito was opposed to changing things. What do you guys think about Carlito's new entrance music? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Jerry Lawler sporting a new look. And last but not least, Jerry the King Lawler is sporting a new look as seen in a recent appearance at a Memphis football game. The X-account Memphis Football tweeted a picture of the legendary wrestler along with the caption, "The King is in the building." Now, although the King suffered a stroke earlier this year, his recovery is reportedly going well. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.